Very happy for his players. And as he said, he hasn't had an awful lot of time to work with them since going in as Tottenham manager. But to get that record off their back in the first game he's in charge in, how important is that?
Well, I watched the game. I mean, you couldn't have picked a better fixture. West Ham was so bad. They were passionless, they had no quality. And he's probably gone in there this week and thought, how lucky am I? Harry Kane, Moura, Dele Alli, Son, players when he thinks we've got good four forwards here. Changed it a little bit. He played Dyer in midfield
instead of Eriksen.
Fullbacks didn't perhaps push on as much as they normally do under Pochettino. But if I hear people talk about tactically, he was much better than anybody. I'm sorry, I can't have that. He's had 2 days there. He hadn't any time to work with the players. It's a great result. And going in, anyone will tell you, you get a new manager in. Of course, they're going to freshen up. These are good players. They just needed perhaps a change of voice and needed to perform, because they weren't performing under the last manager. Also
with that away record and not having had a lot of time to work, is it just the case of, as Jamie said, a new person's in charge, there's a feeling that it's a fresh start?
Yeah, there will be that. That obviously comes into it. But the biggest factor today, I think, were West Ham. They were rubbish. Absolute rubbish. Absolute disgrace. So it was an easy day for Tottenham. I know they made hard work of it the last 15 or 20 minutes, I suppose, typical Tottenham.
Because they were 3-0 up in the game.
Yeah, of course. Listen, a lot of good players like to play when they're 3-0 down, it's a bit late then. So easy day for Tottenham. But good to see Jose back in there. I think it's a good fit for him. I think it's a good fit. I think, but a lot of hard work ahead. I think he'll, he'd no doubt be thinking top 4 this year and trying to win a cup. But, today was easy for him, really. It couldn't have been easier.
9 points off the top 4 as things stand. But what do you think he needs to work on, and why is he a good fit to be the person who makes those changes?
Well, I think his personality, whatever his tactics over the last few days, his personality. He has won stuff before. Again, we're talking about players, sometimes, rightly or wrongly, just want to hear a different voice sometimes. And they've got quality. And I've always said, when you've got a goal scorer like Harry Kane, you've got a chance of winning football matches. But obviously Tottenham have a weakness to him. They've had it, I suppose, for about 20 years in terms of being...
Hey, come on, my dad was there.
No, when you were there, yeah, sorry.
No, I was there, we were weak. No, my dad there was a little bit... I've had Gary Neville say that for years.
We've always classed Spurs as a cup team, haven't we? And there's a bit of an insult to that. But Jose will want to change that, certainly that mentality, but it'll take a bit of work.
It's a great job for him. I mean, in terms of... I think the best thing that Jose's done is come here and sit and talk about football and make people realise, yeah, you know what, he does know. And I'm sure that's been one of the reasons why he's been employed by Tottenham. Because a year ago, well, less than a year ago, we were talking about, will he ever manage in the Premier League again? But then after time, you start to look at his record and go, look at his record, he's a winner. And Tottenham have got to somehow turn into winners, because they've got the squad, they got to the Champions League final last year. But 9 points... if we think that Man City can still win the league, 9 points behind Liverpool, why can't Chelsea get in the top 4? They're chasing... Tottenham getting the top 4, chasing Chelsea and Leicester. So there's no reason why he can't. And they've got the players. They've got the best striker, Harry Kane, who's going to get bundles of goals. He's going to love playing for him. But he's just got to get him, get that fire going again in those Tottenham players' bellies, and I'm sure he will.
But that point that Roy makes, I know you took slight exception to the fact that
I saw Modric and Bale. Tottenham are a good side under my dad. I mean, I'm not going to.
They've had some brilliant players.
But it's not. That's your point, isn't it? It's not about having good players there or being a good side. It's about having maybe that extra ruthless streak, which is what takes you to the point where you win
He's ruthless. He'll do it any way he can.
Yeah. He's mentioned about he wants them to entertain and not change the DNA of Spurs, but he will do.
He will do, yeah.
No problem. He'll have to, because otherwise he'll just continue what they've been doing for the last 10 or 15 years, 20 years, being a really good cup team. Mourinho will want more than that.
Even today, the way he managed, he spoke after the game and talking about Dele Alli. Now he obviously sees a player that struggled for a year or two, and already.
Or his brother.
Yeah, his brother. But already he's trying to do a little... I mean, when he went to Chelsea with Frank Lampard, and he was expressing all the time, you can be the best midfield player in the world. And he said that after the game today, I've got a player here that struggled. 2-3 years ago, we were talking about a midfield that was getting 10, 15 goals as a number 10. And he knows if he can get that little bit more out of these guys, then there's no reason why they can't kick on again, because they've got... It's all there. They've got the best training ground. They've got the best stadium in the country. He probably can't really believe his luck. In less than a year, he's managing one of the biggest clubs in the world.
Roy, if you were a Premier League manager at the moment, if you're, say, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, they've got a couple of games and then they face Manchester United, Tottenham, Would you be happier to face a Pochettino Spurs or a Mourinho Spurs?
Well, you'd probably look at the Pochettino situation where players did maybe lose their way a little bit, take their eye off the ball. So you'd expect Tottenham over the next few months, there will be reaction to players, it's human nature. And we keep mentioning, whatever the problems Spurs have had, they still have a lot of quality. Mourinho's job, any manager's job, is to get the best out of the players. And for whatever reason, it hasn't happened for Pochettino over the last few months, particularly away from home, their record going back to last year. So there will be a reaction. So I think a lot of managers out there now will be worried that Mourinho's in his Spurs because it's human nature. There will be a reaction and they've got quality. And we go back to it. If you've got a goal scorer, you've always got a chance of winning football matches. He just needs to sort out the back and whatever problems in the background with players' contracts, you've got to sort all that out.
Like you said, not huge tactical changes for the game against West Ham, and maybe the win almost certainly a lot down to how West Ham played in that one. So we haven't seen his stamp on the team tactically yet. But when you look at the games that Tottenham have coming up under Jose Mourinho creates a story in so many different places. You've got Manchester United and Chelsea coming up in his games before Christmas, Jamie. Do you think that is, because there's been a lot of talk about that maybe being a factor at Tottenham, about keeping them in the headlines, keeping them as the kind of club that people want to talk about. Do you think that is a factor?
Yeah, well, he's made Tottenham box office again. You know, people are now talking about him because under Mourinho, whatever way you look at it, he's a manager that, again, in less than a year, he'll be somewhere and we'll always know what a good manager is. But they were treading water this year. They shouldn't go from getting the Champions League final to being in a position where they're playing a mid-table game against West Ham. And Jose will be well aware of that. And he'll know how to lift him. He'll know how to get him going again. And I'm sure he went in there this week and was like, wow, I can't believe how lucky I am to be managing this squad. Because they're in a false position. And he can turn that around very quickly. And,
of course, Frank Lampard is going to be taking on his former manager. Always a fun situation, isn't it, Roy?
Yeah, it's brilliant. And Mourinho will love playing Chelsea, and he'll love going back to Old Trafford in a couple of weeks. His ego will be really, he'll be stroking his ego because he'll be looking forward to it. And that's what he's in the game for. He's a big character. His CV is amazing. We have to respect that. And it's good to see him back and hopefully some fireworks on the sideline. We've seen him today. I'm always worried when he goes into a job, and even today he seemed dead nice to everybody. I hope he's not too nice. You know, we need to see that nasty side of him as well, which we will do when they, start dropping points.
And but also you maybe want to see that a bit from the players. Maybe you're saying that's maybe that ruthlessness is what they've been lacking. But then obviously with the game against Frank Lampard coming up, what do you think Frank's going to be thinking ahead of that one, Jamie?
Listen,
especially given the Mourinho comments about, not sure about Chelsea. Jody Morris responded on social media saying, oh, he's worried about us against the big teams. Well, what happens now? Well,
that's a big one. And whenever you play against your old team or manage against them, it's always, it means much more. And I think it's a sort of game where Jose will think, I can show the Tottenham fans, I am Tottenham now. I'm not a Chelsea man. I'm Tottenham through and through. And to me, I don't think he's going to have a problem doing that. I think when it first happened this week, Tottenham fans that I know were like, I can't believe it. Jose's not a Tottenham man. And all of a sudden, I think in the press conferences, he's put that to bed, and everyone's now looking. Yeah, you know what? We've got a born winner here. The problem I always think with Jose is he's got to take his ego out of it. It's not about him. You're the manager, but it's about having the right players and getting the best out of them. As soon as you talk about when I do this, when I do that, players are like, we're fed up with that now. It's not what Pep does or Jurgen Klopp anymore. And I just think if he can take his ego out of it, he can be a huge success at Tottenham. Otherwise, we're going to be talking about the same things that we did at United after 2 or 3 years, where the players fall out of love with him.
And we go back to it. If he's winning football matches, Spurs fans will soon forget about his connection with Chelsea, because they'll be desperate for silverware and to win football matches.